Hi, I'm Hassan Ali, AKA The Style Jumper. I am a keynote speaker, stylist, U.S. Navy veteran, author, and content creator. What I do is I help people understand the value of nonverbal communication. I grew up in Florence, South Carolina, small town, and it's one of those things where I love to just tell people I'm a sharecropper's grandson. One of the unique things about where I grew up is that the land where my high school is on is actually the land that my family sharecropped. For all these years, those things were embedded in me, my upbringing and how valuable that is, and the message that I convey, just by being myself, but also being able to articulate that and help people understand that they can do the same thing. My parents were young parents. My mom had me at 16 years old, and by being so young, I ended up being the village child. There were like 2 days of the year that I absolutely hated. One was the first day of school, and the second was right after Christmas. I knew people would get a lot of clothes, and people could mix and match and just have a ton of options. Well, I didn't. I had to figure out how could I, with the clothes that I have, make it stretch the week. So I would just flip clothes and my mom would laugh. She would tell me, you would sit in your room for hours after we would go shopping and then figure out how to incorporate clothes that you got with what's in the closet. If I didn't have the colors that matched the way that I wanted to, I wouldn't even wear it. I'll just tuck it away in my closet and wait for that right piece of garment to like infuse into my looks. Growing up in church as a kid, it was an event. Every Sunday we would get dressed and I was always in church. Classic kid from the deep South. Grandfather was a preacher. And being the village child, if I wasn't going to church with my grandparents, I was going to church with my aunts or uncles. I was always fascinated by the different clothes that people wore. You know, the ushers had their own uniform. The choir had their uniform, and then the pastor or preacher would have his own, uniform as well. So I was always paying attention to those little details. And that's what helped me figure out that you need to have some type of uniform. And then it also translated to sports, because I played football, and I loved when we would mix colors or play, have the opposite uniform. As an adult, I realized, and after going to the military, I always had this fascination with uniforms and the way you would put things together and how it conveys a message. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a model, but it wasn't really a possibility being from a small town in South Carolina. But my little sister actually took several photos of me. And from that moment, it was like the first time that I saw myself. And I thought that I was attractive. Being of darker complexion wasn't the most popular thing. There's tons of, people who are dealing with colorism. And so I use clothes and colors to allow me to really influence and guide me along my path. You only have a very short time to articulate yourself without speaking. And if you're a person of color, it's really important that you understand that what you wear is a matter of life or death, but it's also a matter of opportunity. What relationships that you can come in contact with? What are the things that will happen if you're not thinking about how you're being perceived? So it's super important to understand that what you wear matters, but style in itself is a little different than fashion. Style is who you are and what you wear and how you put it together. And I always like to say it's timeless. When you're looking for a job, if you go into that organization not being hyper aware of what you're wearing, you may lose the opportunity regardless of the knowledge that you have, regardless of what value you can add to that organization, or if it's someone that you want to maybe engage with as far as like an attractiveness or romantically. If you're not giving yourself that best shot, that's the first step. That's the first thing they see. So we need to be aware of those things. There's so much of opportunities that can just walk by you. If you're a phenomenal hairstylist and your hair looks absolutely crazy, no one's gonna be curious about what your hair looks like or who did your hair. If your hair is always popping and you respond with, oh, I do my own hair, I'm a professional stylist, that's a revenue stream for you. Style can be very versatile. We all have unique styles. And we have unique influences. It could be geographical, it could be where you grew up culturally. So all these different things influence your personal style. So you wanna make sure that you utilize that as a tool. And sometimes we need to be able to identify what that is. So maybe you're a minimalist. You only like to wear 2 or 3 colors, max. Or maybe you're into athletic wear or streetwear. That's a part of your style. That's you being authentic. And what you also can do is you can incorporate multiple styles. It's almost like being a martial artist, and you learn all these unique styles. So the book, Why Style Matters and How It Impacts Your Life. I always wanted to write a book, and I just had to think through what things that happened in my life and my story to share that and make it interesting. So the book is broken down into 3 portions. We have memoir, mindset, and mechanics. Memoir is my story, my influences, all the things that I've learned in my life to help me understand the value of style. Then the mindset, there's a ton of content out there right now about clothes and what to wear and how to match things, which is phenomenal. But if you don't understand why you're doing it and the impact it has, then you're stunned. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, I look good, which is fine, but I wanted to go deeper. And then mechanics, yes. Again, back to that what to wear when and the right colors and things of that nature, the psychology of color. All those things are great. I created this acronym called PREP. I really wanted us to have these 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are P, which is professional, then there's relational, and there's emotional and psychological. Those 4 cornerstones or those pillars are so important because if you understand that value, it will truly impact your life. So what you wear in the professional setting, you wanna dress for the job that you wanna have. In my opinion, that's a uniform. Like, what are you wearing? And you can express yourself. There's a lot of respect in uniforms, whether it's athletics, the military, civil service, your firemen, your policemen, even your mailmen. All those things, they really bring a level of respect and appreciation. So that's your professional. And the relationships that you can have, if you don't think about the idea of, wow, what I'm wearing, I might be missing the love of my life. If I'm not constantly thinking about when I leave home, what am I wearing? What is the message that I'm conveying? And you could be a beautiful woman or a handsome guy, but if you're not well put together, you'll be understated and you're not putting your best foot forward. And the emotional aspect of it is a transfer of energy. When you're actually dressing well, you're gonna feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. But also it's a transfer when someone meets and greets you for the first time, or you're having a conversation and you look amazing, you're gonna make that person smile. And what happens is, it goes twofold. 1, you feel good if you get a compliment. 2, that person that's giving you a compliment feels great. 3, that person may then go back and try to figure out, well, wow, I wonder if my son or my daughter or whomever can pull away with these colors. Maybe I, as that individual, will look great in those colors, which is phenomenal. So we want to think about that from the emotional standpoint. And then the psychological aspect of it. Now, what am I going to do and how do I convey that? And that changes my posture. And what do I do with my emotions? So those emotions then goes into confidence. I'm conveying how I feel, my posture changes to how I become more upright. So by connecting those 4, your professional, your relational, your emotional, and your psychological aspects, and could really be a game changer. So the way I thought about it is, how can I write a book about style that's something like Think and Grow Rich, where you can always have that book and it's like a great starting point to improving your personal style. And if you utilize the tools within this book, it'll really impact your life.
My name is Sade Burrell. I'm born and raised in San Diego. What I like to do when people ask me, you're from San Diego? Yeah, the first thing I think of is like the beach, palm trees, just beautiful scenery. And I like to explain that is true. However, that was not my personal experience. We like to lovingly call San Diego Dago. I was raised in East Dago, meaning that I grew up around City Heights area, where it's over 400 different languages spoken. very diverse. I always share with people that I am also a professional who experienced foster care, meaning that the government came into my home and they deemed it unsafe for us to live there. So I aged out of the foster care system at age 18. From there on, I went to community college, to San Diego State, USC, graduated from there and started working at San Diego Mesa College.
So we're invited to San Diego Mesa College to speak about fashion and foster care. And some people might think, like, how do those two tie together? And why is that important? But to me, I knew that if a person understands their personal style, it will elevate themselves. You know, what they're wearing and what they're conveying, and that power of nonverbal communication is so important. And for those who've come through the foster care system, a lot of times there's a lot of internal battles, self-identity challenges, confidence, being able to relate to themselves and others. And so putting these two together was a phenomenal opportunity. I was invited by Sade Burrell to come and speak to her students here, and we are going to have a spectacular time and help them really understand what tools that they have in their pocket, looking at nature and also even their cultural influences and how that's going to impact them. But sometimes we need a little help, and we're going to do that today.
When you're in foster care, there are a few things that you deal with. One, you deal with low self-esteem. You deal with not knowing who you are, meaning your identity, or the community that you come from, because you've bounced around so many different communities. You lose who you are, and you lose what you think you might stand for. Because I went through foster care, I knew that no one had really taught me about styling, dressing. This matches with this. Your skin tone goes with this right here. So I said, how beautiful would it be if students who also are in my program have that same opportunity?
I did not grow up in that way as a foster youth, but what I do understand is my personal story can connect with this group. Being a child of a teenage mother, not looking like everyone in my family, and dealing with those things, being bullied as a kid. Those are things that I know telling my story will connect with this group.
So fashion and foster care here at San Diego Mesa College has been something that our students have benefited from. This event was created to give confidence to people who experience foster care and to help build up their self-esteem and create a new version of who they want to become.
The Next Up program is designed to support the educational goals and well-being of current and former foster youth. What I wanted to do is just make sure that I convey that and help them understand how to use not only the book, Why Style Matters, but also the value that it can impact your life.
So the Next Up program is actually a state-funded initiative here in the state of California. Next Up only serves a very specific group of foster youth. Anyone who comes into foster care at age 13 all the way to 21. We ordered a bulk of books and we incorporated in one of my classes called a personal growth class. And so we used that book for 16 weeks and we read a chapter and students would talk about what it meant to them to dress in a certain way, what is their style, how to embrace their style, etc. The way that we're able to use this book in a personal growth class to encourage students to come to class. If they don't feel like they look good, they're not going to show up to class.
So I created this interesting channel called The Style Jumper, where I talk about the value of nonverbal communication. It's a very transparent channel where I even talk about some mental health challenges I've had. And it's so important that people feel connected to you with social media. And so if you're inauthentic, you lose the value that you're really trying to convey. So I wanted to be absolutely authentic and be myself. And we talk about a ton of things: professional development, self-esteem, the psychology of color, how to be thrifty, all those different things that will really help impact your life and then also translate to the book. And so it reinforces why style matters.
The confidence that your videos on YouTube give is just phenomenal for me personally, and what it's done in my life. Your videos about how to match your skin tone with certain colors and things like that, and it's helped not only me, my children. My daughter has the same skin color as me, and we all know that colorism exists. To have someone say, the color of your skin is beautiful, and I'm gonna show you how to make it pop even more. We're not gonna shy away from it, front and center. Now you got people in the crowd, I wish I was black too, you know? I wish I had that color. Like, you want people to feel like that, which is why I'm always on you. I'm like, I need a post, I need a video, I need this. Like, I'm yearning for that content. And I think some people might think, oh, it's fashion. No, you're changing perspectives. You're enhancing self-esteem. You're making an impact on so many different lives, and even my students as well, so yeah.
Many of us in our lives needed some type of boost in their style. What I do can give a boost, and being stylish, it also boosts your confidence. It boosts your energy. It makes you smile. It boosts your self-esteem. And the logo is actually Jumper Cables.
And you have to understand, I grew up as a tomboy. So basketball shorts and a t-shirt is all I ever cared about. What I love about what you teach is that you can still be you. I have a student who is very hard to please. And you know what she said, Sade, this is actually my second time attending because she attended the first one online. And she said, I love it even more in person. What this event has done for me as a professional, right? Even like how I dress, when I want to dress streetwear, when I want to dress business casual, when I want to dress in a way that conveys a message that I'm powerful. I know how to dress because of this particular event, because of the book, right? Why Style Matters. And you can also tell by how our staff were engaging with you that it impacted them. In fact, one of our staff members, I ain't gonna say who, purposely dressed up today because he wanted to make sure that he was on point. So it not only impacted our students, our staff. The morale that you must have in an environment when you work with students who are in a depressive state, sometimes we can make a statement through our clothes without saying anything. So one of the things that we're dealing with in our society is self-esteem. A lot of the young kids are comparing themselves to people on social media. And instead of trying to counter that with something negative, what I recommend is bringing in individuals such as yourself to actually show that, hey, instead of trying to compete, how can we embrace who you are as a person? How can we embrace your culture, your history, your experiences into who you are and show it through your clothing? When students are able to see, wow, style does matter. People are making a statement about me based on how I look. Instead of fighting against that competitiveness that we have in this day and age, there are people such as yourself who we're able to bring in to actually do the work and build up that self-esteem, build up that confidence. I've taught 3 classes with this book. This book has made an impact, it's made an influence, and I highly encourage other people to bring you in as well.
If you're looking for someone who's dynamic, authentic, and really care about your students, I'm your guy. My name is Hassan Ali, the Style Jumper, and I look forward to participating in your program to impact not only your students, but also you as a leader, and help your students add more value to their lives, as well as just being engaging and utilizing why style matters, the mindset of dressing well, and how it will impact their life.